Welcome once again to another edition of Shelf Life Book Reviews Online. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch my videos. Hopefully you will find them informative, and when you go to your local bookstore, you will seek out the books that I'm about to mention today. They are two fiction books, both very highly recommended. The first one is The Last Invitation by Darby Kane. This is published by William Morrow, and it retails for $21.99. Darby Kane is the pseudonym for best-selling author Helen K. Diamond, and she has had a series of bestsellers, and now under the Darby Kane name, she is writing a very interesting mystery thriller. It's definitely one that stands out from the crowd, one that you should add to your collection. The book revolves around Gabby Fielding. She is separated from her husband Blaine, and they're in a very rather tense separation, divorce, whatever you want to call it. So she goes over to his house and she finds him on the floor dead, dead from a gunshot wound. And first of all, they think that it was likely suicide, but she suspects, no, it's not suicide. And in many of these books, when it's an apparent suicide, you know it's not a suicide, and murder is involved. So Gabby, with her investigative nature about her, decides to look further into it, even though the police really want no part of it. They say he just killed himself. He got to the point where he gave up, the divorce, life and whatever. But she knows something else is up. In the meantime, she meets up with Jessa Hall, who was in law school with her. She's a former friend. Now, there's a foundation known as the Sophie Foundation, and it is a foundation that helps women, and it's sort of secretive at times. There's a part of it that's rather secretive. And the women who join, they have meetings, and it's interesting because what they do is they hunt down men who have not been the best of mates to the women. And so what starts to look like a string of suicides amongst men is really members of the Sophie Foundation coming to end the men's lives. And the book is told through the eyes of Gabby and Jessa, and also there's a few chapters where the foundation gives their opinions and viewpoints about the situation. So it's a very interesting thriller, but soon Gabby and Jessa realize that maybe they've uncovered too much, and that if the Sophie Foundation is found out for what it truly is, a sort of hit squad in many ways, like it's done a lot of good work for people. It's helping women and get back on their feet and make them feel as a valued part of society. But there's also that secret faction to them where they are the terminators of men's lives all across the city. So it's a very complex thriller. And Darby Kane, aka Helen K. Diamond, has written a most interesting book where you're constantly thinking, what is going to happen next? And are Gabby and Jessa going to make it out of the book alive? Well, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but you can figure it out for yourself if you buy this book, and I hope you will. The Last Invitation. I give you a very open invitation to add this book to your collection because it is certainly worth your time and money. And the second book of note is Death in the Sunshine by Steph Broadribb. This is published by Thomas Mercer, Thomas Mercer, and it retails for $23.99. It is book one of the Retired Detectives Club, and it's a very interesting book, and hopefully if future books can be as interesting as this one, it'll definitely be a series that people want to come back to and read again and again. It revolves around a retirement community, and there are four main characters, all retired from law enforcement. Three of them are from England. One of them is Moira, who is a retired DCI from England. And there's a husband and wife team of Lizzie, who's a CSI in England, and Philip, who's a DCI from London, England. Now, the three never met while they were in England. In fact, the two, Lizzie and Philip, have no idea that Moira was a former law enforcement officer. And when they tell her things, it's almost like she's clueless, and they're telling about how the law works. And Moira goes along with it because she doesn't want them to know that she's retired from the police force. Now, there's a fourth person, Rick, who is a DEA from America, and he is part of the group. So the book opens up with Moira going for a walk around the retirement community. And she comes to a swimming pool, and in the swimming pool she sees droplets of blood at the side. And then she looks in the pool, and she sees a young girl who is dead. Obviously, she's obviously dead, but she's been shot, and she can see the blood. But also in the pool are what Moira thinks are thousands of dollar bills floating on the water. And at the bottom of the pool is like a big duffel bag, as though there might be a big cache of money down there. And so she reports it. Now, it seems that police officers have their own ideas, and they don't want old people honing in on their territory with their advice and their opinions. So it becomes an interesting premise of why this young girl was killed and why there was so much money floating in the pool and the big bag at the bottom of the pool. So Moira suddenly feels like as if someone was following her, and she looks around and she sees a man that's apparently watching, stalking, whatever he's doing. And at one point, she gets assaulted by someone who escapes. So the question is the person who assaulted her the killer, or someone who knows the killer and thinks these people might be getting a little bit too close to the truth? So the book is really interesting. Moira is the most interesting character in that she's very secretive, and she doesn't want Lizzie and Philip to know who she really is and was. And that adds an interesting element to the book as they get closer and closer to finding out who the killer is and why the girl was killed. We find some very interesting things going on with the young girl and why she was targeted and what she was a part of. So this retired detectives club is the most interesting group of people. So you're definitely going to be enthused by the book. You're going to fall in love with the characters, especially Moira, who is sweet and innocent, but when it comes down to it, she can battle with the best of them. So it's the most interesting premise, like I said, and Steph Broadribb has penned a most interesting book, one that you should add to your collection as well. So those are the two books I wanted to draw to your attention. Hopefully when you're at your bookstore, as I noted, you will purchase them, and you will let me know if you agree with my book reviews. So until we meet again next time, which we will have a next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay social distancing, and do stay in touch. We'll talk again real soon. Bye for now.